This is Chicago. At the dawn of the 21st century, Chicago's media was dominated by a handful of major corporations. But a resistance movement arose to free Chicago's media from their clutches. One player in this movement is the Chicago Independent Media Center and its TV show, Chicago Independent Television. The Independent Media Center is a worldwide network of grassroots correspondents committed to using the tools of the media for promoting social and economic justice. You are watching this month's dispatch from the Chicago Independent Media Center.
Mr. Bishop, I want to use this picture on the front page of our next issue.
Oh, come now, Nancy. We can't print a picture like that. Paper is read by people all over the city. Just think what a picture like that would do to the reputation of our newspaper.
I don't think we should hide things just because they're unpleasant. How do we stop things like this if we don't let the people know they're happening?
When a kid gets in trouble at school, we used to send them to the principal's office. Now we're suspending, expelling, or even arresting kids for the smallest misbehaviors. This trend is called the school-to-prison pipeline. There are pipelines all across the country. Nationwide, as many as 95% of out-of-school suspensions are for nonviolent misbehaviors like these. In one town, the cops were called to break up a fight, a water balloon fight. When you crack down harshly on kids for minor infractions, you're telling them one thing: you are a problem. Suspending or expelling a kid increases his or her chance to drop out of high school. And we know high school dropouts are 3.5 times more likely than high school graduates to be arrested in their lifetime. Sending a kid to juvenile detention center also makes crime more likely in their future. Kids who are incarcerated are 67% more likely to be back in jail by the age of 25 than similar kids who didn't go to prison. And this zero-tolerance policy doesn't apply to everyone equally. In Wake County, North Carolina, which has one of the largest school-to-prison pipelines, 40% of black kids caught with cell phones were suspended, while only 17% of white kids were suspended for the same thing. Though blacks and Latinos make up only 29% of public school students, they make up 70% of students involved in in-school arrests or who are referred to law enforcement. Schools even crack down on special needs students, arresting them for the very behaviors that stem from their special needs. 32% of youth in juvenile detention are special needs students. That's the school-to-prison pipeline, another way that the United States incarcerates more people than any other country on earth.
Who pays taxes? The working class. Fat cats profit, kids come last. Number 4. Who pays taxes? The working class. Fat cats profit, kids come last. Who pays taxes? The working class. Fat cats profit, kids come last. Who pays taxes? The working class. Fat cats profit and the kids come last. Right.
I'm Jerry Boyle of the National Lawyers Guild, and you're watching Chicago Independent Television.
Yeah,
be so tired of coming and like yelling at police officers and shit, right? Like, I just want to come and love on y'all and protect each other. Can we just do that? Yeah. Can this be like just a meeting for us to determine what we gonna do to get us free? Can we center ourselves in that love for each other? If we can do that, then we really need to understand when we say abolition now, like, we've been saying this for a long time, right? When we talk about abolition, and that's so hard for some people to imagine, and that's crazy, like the idea of us being free is so hard for people to imagine, right? But the response was exactly the same when people were talking about abolishing slavery. It was exactly the same. So this is not a new idea. These are ideas that have been, like, when we talk about abolishing prisons and abolishing policing, we have to understand that the prisons are the new plantations, right? We talk about, it's hard for us to talk about the killings that we see on video, right? Like, that's hard for people to talk about and even come to a mutual consensus that it's wrong, because it's still, you know, white people on Twitter like, no, he should, you know. And those white people on Twitter are white people in real life, you know. So it's hard for us to talk about that. Like, even if we know that this man only had a busted tail light, right, and that he's killed for that, even if we know that this man was doing nothing but selling loose cigarettes, maybe selling CDs, you know, whatever, and it's hard for us to talk about that, we completely put out of our minds our brothers and sisters who are in prisons, who have the most intimate contact with these psychopaths, police officers, right? We don't even talk about the murders that are happening there. We don't even talk about the abuse that is happening there, because we got to start with this simple shit. We got to start so surface level. We got to start telling white people, yes, say Black Lives Matter. How the fuck do we get to the real issues if we got to start the conversation there? Yo, that's why I want to talk to us. That's why I want to talk to us, because I can't start the conversation there. We got to go way back there. We ain't going to never get here. Let me get to this song. So the name of this song is Street Lights, and I wrote it after the last march that I went to, and that was for Pierre Lowry, and that was in North Lawndale, and that was the most traumatizing thing that I've ever went to, because it was so many young black people, and they were so fed up and so ready to be activated. But the scary thing was that they were so ready to be activated that they weren't selective of their leaders, like that they were ready to follow anyone, right? So we need to, I'm going to put that on us, because we know that our babies are vulnerable and we know that they're ready. We need to be the leaders who they can follow, right? We need to know where we're leading them before we have someone following us, right? So that is on us. So I wrote this song about that, okay? Everything is darker without the fire from the lighter. And I be low-key bitter without the sweetness of the swisher. Feeling low and getting high, so highs and lows don't really differ. I call upon the Savior, they hit my dealer, he deliver. I'm delivered, got the spirit, hot boxing in a ghost. Got ghosts during the toast, they was honoring me. I'm somewhere off in the clouds, somewhere my mama could see. I'm way up high, somewhere the angels could be. In these devilish streets, it's hard for angels to breathe. This weed, it's more like respiration than recreation. I'm on a cloud, still feel like Eric Garner, face on the pavement, this annihilation, hard to escape it, it's state sanctioned. See smoke screens, niggas been hanging on threads, lynch trees, hanging on to dear life. I'm tossing and turning like every night, hear green lines and gunshots and grandmothers cry, grab Garcia Vega to light up the sky, cause everything is darker without the fire from the lighter. And I be low-key bitter without the sweetness of the swisher. I'm feeling low and getting high, so highs and lows don't really differ. I call up on the Savior, then hit my dealer, he deliver. I don't believe the sun gon' rise. Every night I pray I feel the sun's rays again. Lift my arms like wings and pray for wind. Blackbirds don't fly when they caged in. Black boys like stars when they shootin'. Don't shine in the shade. And black girls don't grow in the grave, but we glow in the dark like street lights. Help our babies find their way home. Glow in the dark like street lights. Help our babies find their way home. Glow in the dark like street lights. Help our babies find their way. Say, the people trust me to lead them to freedom. Rarely asleep, but I'm always dreaming. Trapped in thought, till the timeline tells me another soul has been lost. I travel through the truth in a travesty, tethered to tragic reality. Teenagers take casualties casually, not as calamity, catastrophe, only a click away. Wish I could fast forward to better days. Bullets hit bodies like backspace. Black lives are not a typo. And our story can't afford to be mute no more. Pay attention. Or it becomes history if you miss it. Better answer your call, better not drop the ball. I'ma drop a tape and it's gonna sound like the diary of Anne Frank. Come on now, come on. Cause we alive in a genocide. For some genocide where my niggas died. Like that's the secret to make roses rise. Concrete gardens, call them Cabrini Greens. But it's the blues that our ladies sing. Think we crippin', but it's blood on the leaves. I believe in the right to bear arms. Take your heart off your sleeve. Your enemy ain't in the field. Look at the hunters up in the trees. Hurled us some hammers from their hammocks. Hung around laughing hysterically. Hung Christ up on the cross. No telling what they'll do to me. Cause yeah, my daddy a OG, but my mama ain't no virgin. All my disciples gang banging. In my garden I grow weed. So even if I was sent to deliver the message that you need to set you free, tell me, how likely are you and your people to believe? I don't believe the sun gon' raise. I'm talking about Jesus, y'all. I don't believe the sun gon' raise. Every night I pray I feel the sun's rays again. Lift my arms like wings and pray for wind. Blackbirds don't fly when they caged in. Black boys like stars when they shootin'. Don't shine in the shade. And black girls can't grow in the grave, but we glow in the dark like street lights. Help our babies find their way home. Glow in the dark like street lights. Help our babies find their way home. If you're really trying to help these babies find their way home, I need you to say street lights loud, okay? Right. Glow in the dark like street lights. Help our babies find their way home. We glow in the dark like street lights. We help our babies find their way. I'm Bella Baj, y'all. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Vermin Supreme, and whenever I'm watching some sort of moving images on a screen, it's indie media for sure.
Because closing this clinic is going to leave a lot of people who are most vulnerable, the mental health community, out here in the streets where a lot of crime and violence is arising, especially noting that the summer is on the way. One of the things we wanted to do was have a presence out here to say that the people out here are not giving up.
Occupation is not leaving. Why is it that we can elect a president from this ward, from this Illinois State Senate District, but we can't keep our clinics open? Is that right? No! Is that right?
No! We have people and children that are being treated at some of these clinics because the parents are in jeopardy. Those children's lives are changed and made safer. When we've gone to the clergy, they turn their backs on us most of the time. Father Flager is more interested in walking children to school. When we went to him, the mental health movement, and we told him that walking kids to school is not the issue. The issue is keeping those children that feel like shooting and killing, keeping them safe and getting them mental health treatment.
That's right.
His position was, well, that's not on my list.
Without this $3 million that you can raise to increase health care, you're going to have a higher increase in incarceration. You're going to have emergency visits in the hospital rooms. These policemen, law enforcement is going to be more intervention. We need mental health services.
We need some support. And when they closed this clinic down over here, we had a lot of support over there. We had mental health doctors, we had therapists, we had so many people that's gonna help us and everything. But by they taking this here out of the neighborhood and the people that's over there got problems and everything, it's gonna create more problems.
He's closing these mental health clinics and it's gonna have a major impact in our community. I can guarantee you that it will be a surge in the number of people with mental illnesses that are arrested. So the new mental health clinic will become 26 in California.
This is a question about why, when the city of Chicago has $20 million left over in surplus from snow removal, when the city of Chicago has $65 million left over from G8, when the city of Chicago could raise taxes on a few of the wealthiest by starting a yacht tax, as was proposed by Alderman Cochran, why we cannot find $3.3 million to keep these clinics open for one whole year, and why we cannot find the $6 million that would keep them open and better and improved for the services that we need in our communities. This is a question not about the city of Chicago being broke. This is a question about who the city of Chicago thinks is valuable.
When the projects went and they got demolished, the gang structure left. They took away the leaders. They used that money to go up to the top to redevelop the city and property, but they did not redevelop the children. We need these services to help the kids. That's why we need them for the future. Their parents need these services to raise the kids.
We should not be out here begging for the healthcare clinics to be open for mental health, particularly at a time in this nation where people are in a really bad way.
I have received life-saving treatment at our Chicago public mental health centers. Yesterday, we experienced what Ram has in store for us. Instead, bless you, he wants us to go from the clinics to the jails, and that's exactly what he did. We saw a fast-forward version of that yesterday, and the tragedy is the police are not prepared to take care of the mentally ill. We need our clinics. We do not need to be handcuffed and put into jails in conditions that intensify conditions like anxiety, psychosis, and the other things that we have to deal with.
Now, we will not sit silently.
I'm only going to speak for a moment, but I thought it was important to speak up for some people who couldn't be here tonight. This past year, I lost a friend. He suffered from severe depression, and he ultimately took his own life. Medication and proper counseling could have saved him. He was one of the most talented and generous and good-hearted people I've known. He should be there for our fellow human beings.
Yeah.
That's what we should be about as a city, as a people.
Yes.
Yes. We need to help each other, and we need to fight for that principle. We need to stand for that. Because if we don't stand now, they're going to take all of that away from us. We're going to be run on corporate principles. We're going to be run for money and not for the people. We are the people. If we take back our power, if we demand change, we can have it.
Yes, we can.
And we don't have to lose people like my friend. We don't have to lose them. The need for care is increasing, not decreasing, and yet we are pushing out people that are already getting care. There is no excuse for that. It is unforgivable, and it has to be corrected. It can still be made right. We have to do that.
But they have no complaint, they have no victim, they have no witness. We have permission to be here from the owners. Obviously they're confused about what they're trying to do. But they had told us we have to leave, we're not going to leave.
This is Jill Stein. You're watching Chicago Independent Television.
So, for the past 30 years, we have a Democratic Party here in Chicago that has given arguments similar to that of the Republican Party of trickle-down economics. They say things that, like, if we give money to this development, somehow that wealth will trickle down to our schools and our teachers. But what have we seen the past 30 years? What is the real historical fact? The fact of the matter is inequality has worsened. We have less funding, not more funding for schools. We have less teachers. We have larger classrooms. And we have a lower standard of living for the everyday people that live in our neighborhoods. So the theory does not match the reality. Now in Uptown, it was proposed to give a $16 million tax break to a luxury housing developer, with rents costing $2,400 a month. The development is literally right off of North Lakeshore Drive. We were told that that money would somehow trickle down, that somehow this luxury housing developer paying less in taxes was going to somehow improve our schools. And unfortunately, we had some members of the Progressive Caucus who voted for it. And I think it should be said that we need to raise our standards after we elect people. The teachers on the ground, the rank and file, the members of our organizations, we put a lot of hours into getting these people elected. We put a lot of sweat into it. And after they get elected, we need to hold them accountable. We need to raise the standards even among our own and have accountability from the movements below. And that is not just rhetoric. That is a practice that we have to carry out. As members of the teachers union, as members of neighborhood organizations, we cannot let our own people vote for these TIF deals. And it's not just about the disinvestment from our schools and the money going to these housing projects. It's also a matter of segregation, of certain communities losing their schools, certain people being pushed out into other neighborhoods, of certain schools being shut down and flipped into luxury housing. It's not just gentrification, it's segregation. It's Chicago segregation. When you push people out of racially, economically integrated neighborhoods like Logan Square, Albany Park, Uptown, Rogers Park, McKinley Park, when you separate those communities and you push them out of their own neighborhoods, that is an act of segregation. And it's the same segregation that is behind these school closings and this disinvestment. So let's really call what it is. This is furthering Chicago's segregation and the country's most segregated city. And we have to raise the demands and really have a genuine, authentic, real movement from below.
This is Dan Lin from the Illinois chapter of Normal, and you're watching Chicago Independent Television.
Here at Exxon, we hate the world. We've crunched the numbers and know the hotter the earth gets, the more money we make. Wind and solar? Nice try, hippie. Climate chaos? Not a problem. For us. We're designing elevated mansions, deep water boarding schools, and domed shopping malls on the moon. Want to stop us? We'd like to see you try. ExxonHates.com.
I enjoy fluoride in my water and in my toothpaste because I don't want to have control over my free will. Life is just easier that way.
If criticizing markets for good reason is taboo, then so is calling for the abolition of markets and their replacement with a more participatory economy that won't result in these corporate monsters holding disproportionate sway over the internet and over our lives and over the planet. Yes, we should demand that the FCC reclassify the internet as a Title II telecommunication service. But should we win the net neutrality wars of 2014, that won't stop the looming threat of corporate.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is your boy Kid Jungle once again from Power Style Radio Show, Tuesdays 8:30 to 11:30 Central Standard Time. I want to do a big shout out to Q4 Radio AM 1680. Make sure you listen daily at www.QUE4.org. Create beauty and defend it.